Hi everyone, welcome to an interesting session of 3D designing. In this session, we are going to make something new. Do you know what it is? Yeah, definitely we are going to make a 3D design. Can you tell me what it is? What will be the object that we are going to make? Okay, I will give you a clue. It is an object that we use in daily life. I will show you. So, right away here you can see this is the object that we are going to make. Yes, it's a mug design. So are you interested to do a mug design today? Yes, right. So this is the mug that we are going to make today. So this is actually how it looks like. Understood? So it will be having a handle over here and this part is cut down from inside and we get a mug design like this. Okay. So I will be sharing my window here. So I will be sharing my presentation here. Here you can see these are the things that we are going to learn today. In this session, we are going to make a design of a mug, and here we use cylinders and other objects like torus and whole objects. Okay, so there we create different kind of empty spaces inside of this solid objects, and then we will make a design of a mug at the end. Okay, so here we will learn about grouping and making empty spaces inside of solid object, and then object orientation. Okay, so we will get to know how we can change the orientation of each object. Understood? So shall we start? Okay, are you all set? Okay, let's start then. So these are the steps that we need to follow. So there are some certain steps that we need to undergo. So at first we have to input a solid object, which is a cylinder object, into the work plane, and then we will add one more object which will be a whole object. So why we are using whole objects? Yeah, these are all used for making empty spaces inside a solid object, right? Yes, so there we create a cylinder whole object, and then we will put this cylinder object inside of this main object. Did you see that? And then we will add a torus into it, we will change the dimensions accordingly, and then we will make it as a group. So at the final output, at the after grouping all together, we will get an object like in the picture. Okay, so there we will get the mug design. So are you all ready for that? Yes, definitely, right? Yes, very good. So let's go to the Tinkercad website. So for going into Tinkercad website, you can choose any of your web browser. So you can choose any of your web browser. So here, when you choose any of your browser, you can search for Tinkercad. So we already know how to do this. When you search for Tinkercad, it will take you to the Google searches, and there you need to take the first one. So from the Google searches list, you can take the first one. So just click on to the first link. It will take you to another interface looking like this. Did you get the same? Yes, right. So you took this web browser and then you searched for Tinkercad. Then you got this Google search, right? From the Google search, you gone through this Tinkercad website. See, now in here you have to log in, but here you can see that I already logged in. This is the first interface that you will get. In some cases you will get an interface like this, and if you don't sign in, you have to sign up first or log in first. So you can click onto this sign up option. Click on the sign up option. There you have to choose create a personal account. So when you choose to go to this personal account, here you can find there are 3 options available. From these 3 options, you can choose sign in with Google. Okay, now we are in this Tinkercad platform, right? Yes. So here you can see that there is a create button. So this is the interface that you all got, right? You got the same as mine. Yes, fine. Now let's go to this create button. Click on to create button. So when you click onto that, there will be 3 options. From the list, you have to choose 3D design at first. So click on to 3D design. Here it is going into another window looking like this, right? Yes, you got the same window. Am I right? So you followed the instructions, right? Yes. Now we got the same window as mine. So here we all are seeing the shapes on the right side, and these are the tools which are used for viewing the object. And here on top you can find, on the left top corner, you can find copy paste, duplicate, undo, redo tool, deleting tool, right? In here you can find grouping tool, ungrouping tool, aligning tool, right? So why we are using aligning tool? Yes, if you want multiple objects positioned properly, and if you want it align it according to each other, you have to choose this aligning tool. So it will give you a proportional alignment, right? Yes. Now this is the work plane where we are placing our objects. So if whatever the objects that is required for making your main object, you have to drag it and drop it into the work plane. So let's drag and drop the first object that is necessary for making our mug design. So what is the object? Tell me. Very good. It is a cylinder, right? So we have to choose a cylinder, a solid cylinder from the shapes, right? Yes. Now let's add this one into the work plane. Now we added the solid cylinder into the work plane, right? Okay. So did you add? Yes, you all added the solid object into the work plane. Now what is the next step? Yes, we have to change its dimensions. Okay. So what is the dimension that we can take? We all know that it is having grid lines. So, and these are all measuring in mm, which is referring to millimeters, right? So millimeters. Let's take this dimensions as 50 mm in size. So in all direction, length, width and height, it all must be kept as 50 mm. So that is the requirement for us. So we are going to change the values right away. So just change it to 50. So here I changed the length to 50, and here the width should be 50. See that? We changed its dimensions, like length and width can be changed into 50 and 50. Now what is the next one? Yeah, we have to change its height. So let's change the height right away. Here you can see that we are going into the front view and go to the fit view. So when you click onto the fit view, you can see the fifth point here, right? So we chose this corner points to edit the measurement for length and width. Now in this case we are going to change the height. So for that purpose we are going into this fifth point. We are choosing the fifth point and changing the dimensions accordingly. See that? Now it's 50 in size. So here you can see that it is now below the work plane. So the portion of this solid object now is placed below the work plane. So we have to put it back to the work plane itself. So what we can do? We have to click on to this black arrow. You can see the triangle shape, dark triangle shape, right? So you have to click onto that and then just move your mouse upwards. So you can see that now it is placed in the work plane correctly, because it is saying that now the measurement is 0, which is indicating the distance between the work plane and the solid object is now 0 mm, which is indicating now it is placed on the work plane itself. So are you getting my point? Yes, right? Yes. Okay, great. Now we changed its dimensions, like 50. Here it is 50 and here also it is 50. Did you see that? Very good, very good. Now what else we need? Yes, we need to add a whole object, a whole cylinder into the work plane. So we are adding a whole cylinder. Where we can get the whole cylinder? Here you can find this transparent shape, right? So it is also a cylinder. So you can choose this cylinder and place it on the work plane like this. Okay. So did you add? You added the object into the work plane, right? Now it is not a solid object, it is a whole object. Okay. So why we are using whole object? Yes, this whole object can make empty spaces inside of solid objects, right? So why we are using the whole object right now? Yes, it is used for cutting a portion from the main object. So here the main object is our cylinder. See that? Okay. So you can go through it. So you can go through the properties of this particular cylinder, and if you want to make adjustment to this shape, you can make. So like, so if I'm choosing this one and going into the fit view option and then going into the home view, now you can see that it is having some properties like sides, bevels, segments like that. So here I'm choosing this one, sides. Now you can see that the sides are adjusted a little bit. Now when it comes to bevel, what we can do is we can kept it as 0.5. So we can keep it as 0.5. So now it looks like this. This end, can you see the end? Yes, these ends are a little bit flat. So that's what it will be. It will be giving, right? Yes. Now when you are choosing the segments, this is what you will get. Okay, so we will keep it as 5. Okay, now it's okay to me and it's all right. Now we are going to change the dimensions of the whole object. So what will be the whole object dimension? Yes, of course, it must be a relative to this, a relative measurement to this main object, right? So we have to change it as 40. Okay, so we are changing the length and width as 40. Choose the corner points and change the length and width as 40. So I just changed it as 50. So let me change it again. 40. Now it's 40. And now we are changing the height. So right now we are going to change the height. So for changing the height, what we can do is just I'm going into the fit view. Okay, so then go to the front view. Here I'm going to change the height. So this height must be 50. So the length and width are 40, but here you can see that for this whole object we chose to give the length and width as 40, but in the case of solid object we chose it to give it as 50. Okay, also here you can, so here you can see that we can give it as 50. Understood? So now what we are going to do is we are going to insert this whole object inside of this main object. Okay, but before that we have to lift a little bit. So we have to lift this whole object a little bit from the work plane, because we don't want to cut down the portion or the bottom of this main object, right? So for that purpose we are going to lift this object a little bit from the work plane. Around we can take a 5 mm in length. So this will be the length from the work plane. So the distance between the work plane and the whole object is right now 5 mm. So if you want to make it more, you can do it just like putting this one and placing this one, or moving your mouse upwards. Okay, now what we can do is, so here I put it as a 10 mm in size, or here let me put it as 7 mm. Okay, now we are going to align this one. So how you are going to align this one? Just select all the objects and then click onto the aligning tool. You can select the middle part or middle points here, middle circles. Just click onto the middle one, and here also there is a middle point, you can see, right? So you can, if you choose to give that, now it's perfectly aligned to each other. So if you want to ensure that, you can go to this top view and go to the fit view again. Now you can see it is perfectly aligned with the main object. Can you see it? Yes, it's perfectly aligned, right? Yes, wonderful. Now let's group it together and see the difference. So if you group it, you can see that this is what it looks like. See? Interesting, right? Yes. Now we got the basic shape for our mug, right? So in the next step, what we are going to do is we are going to add the handle for our mug. So for doing that, we have to go through these shapes and then add a torus. So we are going to add a torus into the work plane. Just go to the home view. This is the home view, and we added a torus here. So this is our torus. You can see that, right? Okay, fine. So what we are going to do is we are going to add this one into this particular main object, but before that we need to change its orientations and its measurements. So for changing the orientation, what we can do, just zoom in a little bit, or you can choose to view it in fit view mode, and now we need to lift this up. Okay, so for doing that, just click on to the object. We are going to the front view and you can choose this one. You can see this arrow. You can see this arrow, right? So when you click onto that, now we can rotate this object. So let me share the details of it. So here, if you choose to go to the fit view again, and there you can find this arrow, then you can give it as 90. Okay, so when you give it as 90, it will be rotated and it will be tilted a 90-degree angle. Can you see it? Yes. Okay, so in the same way, so what we done is we type the angle that we require, right? So if you are using this tool itself, what you can do, just take this one and then rotate it, like simply you can rotate it. So just do this like this. So this way you can rotate it, and we changed its orientation, right? Yes. Now in the next step, we need to lift the object from the work plane, because right now it is now under the work plane. So we have to rotate it. So for rotating purpose, we can use this black arrow mark, right? Yes. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So just go into this view mode. Okay. Now little bit upwards. So make sure that this particular value is keeping 0. Okay. So now we have to ensure that this value is now 0. It is indicating now the object is placed on top of the main work plane. Okay. So let's go to the fit view, home view. Okay, here you can see that it is somewhat smaller compared to the main object, right? Yes. Now in the next step, we are going to take the measurements we required, and we are going to change the dimensions of the torus. Okay, so we added a torus here and we changed its orientation, and now we are going to make the dimensional measurements. Okay, here you can change it accordingly. So here what I'm going to do is, you can put this one, or you can change the width to 10. So we are changing the width to 10 and go to the fit view. Here you can change the height. So here, this is the 5th point. Here, using the 5th point, you can change the height of the object. So let's change the height to 40 or something. You can say here from the left side, we can see the torus. Can you see it? Okay. Now what we are going to do is we are going to change the length also. So we are changing the length to 40. See that? Now this is what the handle looks like. So this is the object that we made, and we changed its dimensions. Now we got a torus looking like this. Now we need to insert this one into the main object, but before that we need to ungroup the main object. So let's ungroup it. So once you ungroup it, what you can do, just take this one and place it inside of this one. Okay, so once you've done that, you can see, so you can use your right mouse button in your you can use your right mouse button to view this particular object in any angle. Okay, otherwise you can use this cube, and then we can see from each side. So here you can say that now it is now somewhat aligned, but if you want to make sure that it's properly aligned, you can go to this aligning tool, and then you can choose this one. Okay, we only need to align this side, because if you are choosing this one, what happens? Yes, it will going into this main object. We don't want that. We only aligned this much. So that's it. So now it is grayed out, which is indicating now this side is aligned perfectly. Understood? Okay, great. Now we are going to make this one as a single object. For making it as a single object, we need to group it, right? But before that, so let me see from this angle. Here you can see that it is somewhat not aligned. So for aligning this one, what you can do, just click on to the torus object, go to the fit view, and using the arrow mark, here you can see the dark triangle shape, right? So let's put it upwards. Now it's somewhat aligned properly. Okay, I think it's okay right now. What do you think? It's perfectly aligned, right? So you got all the things necessary for a cup, right? So we got a handle, now the basic shape for our cup, right? A mug design. Now we all got the same. So did you do it? Did you do the same steps that we have gone through? Yes, now we got the mug design, right? So now we change the perspective to home view. So now you can see the objects here. Now let's make it as a group. Select all the objects and click onto this grouping tool. So let's see what happens next. See, our mug design is perfectly built. Okay, here you can see that our mug design is now already made. See, if you want to change the color, you can click onto that and then choose any color from the list. Okay, here you can find our mug design is perfectly okay for now. So what do you think? Did you get the same? Same, right? Okay, great. So what do you think? It's very interesting, right? Okay, great. So what are the things that we learned today? We learned to change its orientations, objects orientations, and we learned how to make empty spaces inside of whole object, main object, right? Like solid objects using whole objects, right? Yes. Then we used these tools like aligning tool, grouping tool, and other tools like redo, undo, like this kind of tools that we used, and we can use this deleting tool for deleting the objects, right? So this is how we made our cup design or mug design, we can say. Okay, now the steps that we followed, right? At first we added a cylinder object into the work plane, and then we added a whole object which is used to make a cut inside this main object, and then we use this torus, right? So where we get this torus, here you can see that, right? So this is the torus. So we added this torus into the work plane, and then we changed its orientations, like here you can see that these are the arrows used for changing the orientations of each and every object. So like this we changed its orientations, and then at the final output we made it as a group, and then we got our mug design. Seems like interesting, right? So there are other sessions like this, and I hope you all enjoyed today's session. And this is how we can make 3D designs using Tinkercad platforms. Take your imaginations into reality by doing 3D designs. I hope you all understood the things related to today's topic, and thank you for your participation. Have a nice day.